Hey everybody, my name is Alyson Smith and thanks so much for joining me today. I'm going to be answering a question that I received from a fellow subscriber regarding how to memorize music more effectively. And this could not be a better question for me because I just recently completed my music degree for music performance, and for the culmination of it, I had to do a senior piano recital where I had to memorize music and play for 1 hour straight, no music in front of me, in front of a live audience. And to prepare for that, I learned a couple of things. I learned that memorization is a three-step process. First, you have to do audiation. So when I was preparing my program, I listened to all of my pieces on repeat. I had a playlist of all of my pieces and I listened to them constantly. I knew them inside and out. I knew certain sections of it where I'd say, oh, that's where the development section is, or oh, that's where the exposition is, or oh, this is where that hard part that I always trip up, that's where it's at. And I knew the music inside and out before I even played it. And a lot of people don't like to do this because they want to create their own interpretations, but I'm heavily inspired by lots of pianists, so I love to know every single interpretation possible, especially if I'm going to be playing this in a years from now and I want to play it the best I can, so I want to hear everyone's interpretation. Audiation is really important too. When you are playing through your music, it's important that maybe you can play it in your mind. Isn't that kind of weird? So what do you mean by playing it in your mind? Well, here's what I mean. Let's say you've practiced a piece for about maybe 2 months, right? And you really know it and stuff, but let's say you go to, I don't know, you go to the garden center, and you're at the garden center and you're smelling all the flowers and you say, okay, I'm gonna play through my piece in my mind. And you say, okay, all right, I'm playing. And if you get to a spot in your mind where you can't remember where your fingers go, then that's a problem. Lots of people do this. They practice performing their piece in their mind. And if you can't remember a certain note, then that's when you go back to the piano and you say, okay, which note was that I forgot? So if you can play it in your mind, you can play it on the piano. Another tip for memorizing music is theoretical knowledge. So this is the second layer. So let's say I'm trying to memorize the Chopin Etude number 4 in C sharp minor. Well, let's say I remember I did this one time. I went to a competition and I literally forgot the first line. You know why? Because I didn't have any theoretical knowledge in my brain. So I'm going to look at this first line and I'm never going to forget it. Why? Because I'm looking, this is in C sharp minor. The left hand goes from G sharp to C sharp. Well, what's that in music theory land? That's a 5-to-1 relationship right there. So if I just remember, okay, Chopin Etude, it's in C sharp minor, it's a 5-to-1. I will never forget it goes from G sharp to C sharp. It's just that easy. And if you start thinking in simple terms, okay, so I see 16th notes, I see 4 notes going up, then I see these thirds going down in the left hand. Just understanding the different chord relationships in your music. I see a 1 to 5 to 1 to 5 relationship in measure 3 in the left hand. I see octaves. I see that it's alternating hands. It starts on particular key areas. Just knowing basic stuff about your music and being able to articulate those things, it's way easier. It's almost like if you're trying to give a speech in front of people about your house and downstairs of your house, you'd probably give it pretty well, right? Because you know the inside of your house like you know the back of your hand. But let's say you were giving a speech about a foreign country. Well, that'd be kind of hard because you've probably never been in that foreign country, unless you have, I don't know. The third layer to memorizing music is muscle memory. Now this is an obvious one, right? Everybody knows, okay, in order to play a piece, it needs to be in your fingers, right? So when I was trying to prepare for that 1 hour thing, I would practice daily, the same line, maybe 100 times. I was a little bit of an extremist, but remember, I had a lot of music that I had to memorize and I had to do it for my grade, right? So I could not mess it up. And so I would just practice one line, maybe 25 times. And then I practice another line 25 times. And then another line 25 times. Maybe I tried to just memorize the right hand. Maybe I just tried to memorize the left hand. Could I get through the whole page right hand only? Could I get through the whole page left hand only? Do I remember what the right hand sounded like? Do I remember what the left hand sounded like? So just understanding your music, being able to hear it in your ear, and playing it constantly. Repetition cannot be said enough, right? The practice room is known for being the room of repetition. And it takes a lot of discipline to practice something over and over, because who wants to do something, the same thing over and over? You'd have to be crazy. But as musicians, we are kind of crazy, right? Here's a couple of ways to see if you are memorizing your pieces. Sometimes what I would do when I was preparing, I would take my phone and record myself. Can I play all the way through with the pressure of a video? I don't know why, but for some reason when I have a video, I'm thinking, oh, I can't mess this up. It's weird why I get nervous when I'm taking a video of myself playing the piano. Like, nobody is there. I can easily just delete it. But for some reason, it's a little bit of a pressure test. Can I make it through without having to retake the video? And let's say you do mess up, right? Now you have measurable progress. You say, okay, you watch the video back and you say, okay, I messed up here. So why don't you practice where you actually messed up? And then retake the video and see if you can go all the way through. Another way to practice your memorization is to practice one line. Maybe you can do hands together or hands separately. Do one line 5 times. Close the book and see if you can do it again. And if you get really good at that and you did memorize it, then you can do 2 lines. Do it 5 times, close the book, and practice it again and see if you got it memorized. It's that easy. Basically, you have to understand your music theoretically. You have to be able to know what it sounds like, and you have to be able to play it repeatedly, right? Memorization is difficult because it's not like, oh, I do this, this, and this, and then next week I'll have it done. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes you have to wait a while, especially if you're a beginner. These things are not going to come easily because obviously those pathways in your brain are not quite developed yet, and you don't understand all these things about music theory, and so it's not as easy. But the more you do something, the better you'll get at it. And start real small. Just take one measure, do it 5 times, close the book. All right? It's going to get better, but you have to keep practicing it. It's not going to be instant. I spent a whole year trying to figure out how to memorize an hour of music in my brain. And sometimes I practice for 3 hours a day just to do that. It takes a lot of sacrifice, but if you're in it to win it, you can do it. So I hope this video has been helpful and beneficial to you on your sight reading journey and your memorization journeys and your piano journeys in general. Please check out a couple of my other videos if you're interested in music theory or just other things on this channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Give me some questions that you might have. Tell me about your piano journeys. I'd love to hear that. And like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.